A very warm welcome to my dear students of class 12 science. Welcome to biology class. In our previous classes, we have learnt about the infectious diseases or communicable diseases. Today, we are going to begin our class with the non-infectious disease or non-communicable disease, and we are going to learn such a disease in today's class that is the most dreaded disease of human being, okay, and which is a major cause of death of human beings all over the world. So today we are going to learn about the disease that is called cancer. And in India, almost nearly lakhs of persons dies due to cancer every year. Okay, so what do you mean by cancer actually? So before going into the topic cancer, okay, we first have learned about the cells. In class 11 we have learned about that cells are the structural and functional unit of living organisms. Each and every living organisms, may it be unicellular or multicellular, they are made up of cells that we have learned in our junior classes, right? So at the beginning of this class, okay, so try to recall those properties of a normal cell, of a cell. In class 11 we have learned about the cell cycle and the cell divisions. While doing the cell cycle, we have learned that we have got different checkpoints right in between the G1 phase, S phase, G2 phase, which will try to see whether the cell has completed all the criteria of the previous cycle or not. That means if the cell is going from G1 phase to the S phase, then whatever the criteria or condition the cell has to fulfill in the G1 phase has to be done. Then only those cells will be allowed to enter into the next phase, that's called the S phase. And then from S phase, the cell has to enter into the G2 phase. So in between these particular phases, we have got a checkpoint, and that checkpoint ensures that whether the cell has completed all those particular criteria or conditions or not. Okay, so what happens during those particular checkpoint during the cancerous cells? Okay, what are the properties of these cancerous cells which will help them to develop in such a way, to grow in such a way that will form a lump of cells called the tumorous cells? So all those things we are going to cover it into this topic. So first of all, what do you mean by cancer? Okay, so cancer is an uncontrolled division of cells without differentiation. The cells keeps on dividing and dividing and dividing without undergoing differentiation. Usually the normal cells, they are used to undergo cell division, and once they divide to form the daughter cells, that particular daughter cells undergo cell differentiation. Cell division and cell differentiation is one of the most important feature of a normal cell. Cell differentiation means a particular functions will be assigned to a particular group of cells, because a group of cells having the same function will form a tissue. So cell divisions and cell differentiation is one of the most important feature of a normal cell. Clear? But in case of cancer, what you are learning is that there is an uncontrolled division of cell. The cell will keep on dividing and dividing. They will form a lump of cells or a group of cells, and those cells does not undergo cell differentiation. Okay, so it causes increase in the number of cells. It will cause an increase in the number of cells which invades and surrounds the adjacent cells and the tissue. So simply it will keep on increasing in number by means of cell division. Okay, it will increase number from 1 to 2 to 4, and it will keep on dividing and dividing and dividing, but there will be no cell differentiation, or proper functions or special functions will not assigned to a particular group of cells. It will simply keep on dividing in an uncontrolled manner or in an uncontrolled division. So those checkpoints that we are learning, that G1 phase, S phase, G2 phase, where there is checkpoint, those checkpoints will also become non-functional in case of cancerous cells. They will simply move from one phase to another phase. That's why it is called uncontrolled phase of cell division. Okay, now next one we'll try to learn about the characteristics of cancerous cells. What are the features or the characteristics of a cancerous cells? First one, cancer cells resembles normal cells in their ability to divide, to undergo cell divisions. Okay, but there are certain differences in which they will differ from the normal cell. First one, you can see that they will continue to divide ceaselessly in an uncontrolled manner. It will keep on dividing and dividing. Okay, that's what it is called an uncontrolled division of cells. So those cell division cannot be controlled. Next one, it does not undergo differentiation. We learned that there will be rapid cell division, but those cells does not go cell differentiation. Those cells will not be assigned a specific functions. Next one, we can say that they have got the property of metastasis. That means they will migrate from one part or organ of the body to the other parts and the organ. Those cancerous cells, they have got the ability to move from one part of the body to the other part of the body, and in doing that, so they will infect the other normal cells. Okay, so that's why they will affect the adjacent cells. They will infect the nearby cells. So they will move from one part of the body or the organ to the other parts and the organs, and they will affect the, or they will infect the normal cells. And this property of the cancerous cell is called metastasis. Okay, so overgrowth, there will be continuous cell division, there will be overgrowth. Okay, they will invade to the new sites, new part of the body, and thereby they will form the secondary tumor. Okay, so tumors we will cover afterwards. Next property is that they will resist cell death and they will promote the development of tumor. So normal cell death does not occur in case of cancerous cells. Okay, so that's why there will be massive cell growth. Okay, there will be overgrowth of cells and they will form a tumor. Then most important property is that in normal cells we will find cell to cell contact inhibition. One cell will control the growth of other cell or another cells. But in case of cancerous cells, what we does not observe is that this cell to cell contact or contact inhibition is not there. Okay, that's why they will form an overgrowth of cells. There will be overgrowth of cells. We will find a lump of growth of cells which is called tumor. So loss of contact inhibitions is there in case of cancerous cells. Other things which you can see in case of cancerous cell is that number of lysosomes will be more in case of cancerous cells. Nucleus, they becomes more irregular, they becomes granular. Okay, and there are certain cells like BRCA1, BRCA2. Okay, that cells undergoes mutations and they will lead to the formation of cancerous cells. Now let us look at the difference between the cancerous cell and the normal cell. What are the differences? First one, you can see over here, these cells divide in cancer cell. Okay, this cell divide in an unregulated and uncontrolled manner, hence lifespan is not definite. So since cancerous cells undergoes an uncontrolled phenomenon of cell division, an uncontrolled growth, so lifespan of cancerous cell is not definite. We cannot presume the life cycle of a cancerous cell. Okay, then next one, over here you can see normal cell. These cells divide in a regular manner, hence they have a definite lifespan. So those cells with a normal cell, they have got a particular lifespan. Okay, that which we can predict and which you can say, and they also undergo normal cell death, and they can also go on necrosis or accidental cell death. Number two, in cancerous cells, these cells do not undergo differentiation. We just learned that cancerous cells undergoes rapid cell division, which is an uncontrolled cell division without cell differentiation. But normal cells, they used to undergo cell differentiation. Okay, so whatever the cells with the normal cells, they used to undergo normal differentiation. Point number three, these cells do not remain at that means there is loss of contact inhibition. We just learned that in normal cell we will find the property of contact inhibition. In normal cell there is cell to cell contact. Okay, the cells are remain tethered. Cells have that means they have cell to cell contact and inhibit the growth and uncontrolled divisions in neighboring cell. That means one cell will control the growth of another cells. Suppose this is the one cell. In normal cell, this will be in close contact with the another cell, like this way. Okay, so there will be cell to cell contact in case of normal cell, and this particular cell will control the growth of this cell. Okay, and this cell will control the growth of this particular cell, and this cell will control the growth of this neighboring cell. But in case of cancer cell, what I mean is that this cell to cell contact inhibition cannot be seen. Okay, so one cell cannot control the growth of another cell. That's why we will find a lump of cell like this. Okay, on overgrowth of cells, and this lump of cells or overgrowth of cells will be known as our tumor. Okay, so cell to cell contact inhibition is seen in normal cell, but cell to cell contact inhibition cannot be seen in case of cancerous cell. Next property is cancerous cells don't have a definite lifespan. We just learned that, whereas normal cell have got a definite lifespan. Okay, since the cancerous cells undergoes rapid cell divisions, uncontrolled cell divisions. Okay, they don't undergo differentiation. So cancerous cells, they don't have got a particular lifespan. Number 5, cancerous cells have embedding capacity. That means they have the property to embed to the neighboring cells and infect the normal cells, whereas normal cells do not have this particular embedding capacity. Okay, they cannot move from the site of origin. In cancerous cells, mitochondrial cristae are few, but in normal cells they are normal. Lysosomes are many in case of cancerous cells, and they are only few in case of normal cells. And nucleus is large in case of cancerous cells, hypertrophied, irregular, whereas in case of normal cells, the nucleus is vesicular, rounded or oval. So this is the general difference between the cancerous cells and the normal cells. Next one, we have got transformation of normal cells into cancerous cells. How does the normal cell will transform into cancerous cells? Now it is mainly due to loss of contact of a cells or cells with surrounding cell, which is also called contact inhibition, cell to cell contact or cell contact inhibition. Okay, which is mainly induced by the chemical, physical or biological agent. So mainly the normal cell which have got the contact inhibition property, cell to cell contact property, where one cell will control the growth of another cell. Such type of property is mainly absent in case of cancerous cell. That's why we just learned that cancerous cell does not have got the property of cell to cell contact. They have got no property to control the growth of neighboring cells. Okay, so this particular loss of contact inhibition in cancerous cells, it might be due to physical agent, chemical agent or biological agents. Okay, and chemical agents we also called carcinogens, the agents which causes cancer. Okay, carcinogens, the agent which causes cancer. So the process by which the normal cells will transform into a cancerous cells can occur by means of the following steps. Number 1, initiation. So initiation, that means the beginning of transformation of normal cell into the cancerous cells, and it takes by means of any agent, physical agent, chemical agent or by any type of biological agents. So those agents which induce the cell, normal cell to a cancerous cell is called a carcinogen. So this is the first step called initiation. Then the second one is called promotion, due to the conversion of proto-oncogenes into oncogenes. Okay, so proto-oncogenes will convert into oncogenes. All the genes we'll discuss in our next class. Okay, then third one is progression, due to intracellular changes in the normal cells and formation of tumor cells or neoplastic cells. Okay, so there will be progression, there will be formation of tumor cells. Then fourth one is metastasis, or we can say the process of repeated cell divisions, and the property of cancerous cells to invade the surrounding or the adjacent cells and to infect the normal cell. These are the 4 processes by which the normal cell will change into a cancerous cell. Okay, now let's learn about the types of tumor, because we learned that cancer is an abnormal proliferation of cells where the cells will go in an uncontrollably manner without any type of cell to cell contact properties. Okay, and without undergoing any type of cell differentiation. So that's why they will form a lump of cells which is known as tumor. So we have got 2 types of tumor. Okay, so we have got 2 types of tumor. The first one is called the benign tumor. It's also called non-cancerous tumor or the non-malignant tumor, and this type of tumor will be confined to its original position of formation. It stops increasing in size after let's say after achieving a certain growth in the size. It will stop growing in size, and it will get encapsulated in a connective tissue and remain localized. So it will be confined to a fixed position. Okay, so at the time of its formation to a certain site, it will be over the only, it will not change its positions. Clear? So the cells of the benign tumor are unable to infiltrate into the adjacent tissues, so they don't have the property of metastasis. Second one is called the malignant tumor, which is also called the actual cancerous tumor, which will spread out rapidly. Okay, and these particular tumor are carried by the blood and the lymph to the other parts of the body, and the other parts of the body, they will form the secondary malignant growth. So they have got the property of metastasis. They have got the property of moving the cancerous cells from the site of origin to the nearby cells, and in that particular process they will affect the normal cells also. So this particular property of the malignant tumor to infiltrate from its sites of origin to the nearby cells or the adjacent cells and to infect that normal cells is called metastasis. Okay, so the secondary malignant growth are called metaplastic cancers or the secondary cancers. Okay, so between the benign tumor and the malignant tumor are the cancerous tumor. So all the tumors are not cancerous. So we have to identify that which one is benign tumor and which one is malignant tumor. So if the tumor is benign tumor, then it is not a cancerous one, but if it is a malignant tumor, then that one is a cancerous tumor. Okay, so now let us see the difference between the benign tumor and the malignant tumor. Benign tumor, check it out. Benign tumor are single mass of cells enclosed in capsules. Okay, so they will slowly grow and tumor growth stops after some time. Okay, so after a certain period of growth they will stop growing in size and they will be enclosed by a capsules. Whereas malignant tumor, they are a mass of proliferating neoplastic cells without capsules. So they will grow rapidly, okay, and the growth will non-stop. They will keep on growing and growing and growing. Okay, so benign tumor, they are non-invasive. They don't have the property of metastasis, but malignant tumor, they will show the property of metastasis. Okay, so they will invade the surrounding cells and they will infect those particular cells or tissues. Clear? Now, point number 4. Benign tumor, the cells are non-migratory, hence do not migrate from place of origin. But when we look at the malignant tumor, the cells have pseudopodia-like processes. That's why they have got the property of metastasis to move from their site of origin to the other normal tissues or the adjacent cells and to infect those cells. Benign tumor are non-cancerous tumor. Okay, so the cells of the benign tumors are non-cancerous, whereas that of malignant tumor, the cells are cancerous. Okay, the tumors are cancerous and they are called secondary tumor. So we don't have latent period in case of benign tumor, but a latent period exists between the initiation and the progression of tumor in case of malignant tumor. So this is the common difference between the benign tumor and the malignant tumor. Now let us check out the few types of cancer. Okay, so few types of cancer. First one, we have got the sarcoma, the malignant growth arising in the tissues derived from embryonic mesoderm. So here we have got the cancers of bone, okay, cancers of muscles, lymph nodes and the connective tissues. Second one is called the carcinoma, the malignant growth of epithelial tissue or skin. That means, example, you have got cancer of skin, cancer of lung, cancer of breast, stomach and the pancreas. Then even we have got this melanomas, 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 which are the tumors that arises from the melanocytes of the skin and the other organ. Okay, like we have got superficial melanoma, mucosal melanoma, and we have got nodular melanoma also. You know what does melanocyte means, with the pigmentation of the skin. Then we have got leukemias and the lymphomas, okay, which are the cancers of hematopoietic cells. Leukemia, very carefully, in leukemia, the blood cells, mainly the white blood cells, okay, the white blood cells will show an abnormal increase in number. So in leukemia, there will be an increase in the number of white blood cells. That's why it is also called blood cancer. And in lymphoma, there is excessive growth of the lymph nodes, spleen and the lymphoid tissues. Okay. Now, in India, uterine cervical cancer and cancer of mammary glands in women and mouth and throat cancers in men are more common. That's why nearly more than lakhs of patients, they used to die due to cancer in India. So today we have just learned about the definition of cancer, the characteristic feature of cancerous cells, the difference between normal cell and cancer cells. We have learned about the transformation of normal cell into the cancerous cells, the types of tumor, benign tumor and malignant tumor, and we have just learned about the types of cancer just briefly. Okay, so this was the today's class. In the next class we will learn about the causes of cancer, Then we'll learn about the genes which are involved in cancer. Then we will learn about the treatment of cancer. Okay, so we'll be covering all these things in our next class. So this was today's class. See you in next class. Thank you. Okay, till then stay safe and take care of yourself.